Welcome to the ultimate guide where we unlock the secrets to mastering Mobile Legends. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or a newcomer to the battlefield, this is how I was able to rank up in Mobile Legends by following these simple tips. This guide will be very helpful mainly if you're a frequent player and even though you play for hours, dominate your favorite hero, and mechanically you're pretty good, still you cannot rank up. And believe me that I understand you because I have also gone through moments where I thought I did everything right but nevertheless I couldn't win. I got frustrated. I blamed other players. I complained about the trolls, the team I played with. Booty realized that I was wrong. I was struggling so much to the point I was almost given up. I was trying so hard every time with no results. Until I decided to follow these tips until today that helped me rank up every season of the game. Be aware that this guide will be very useful for both players who are stuck in Epic and Legend as well as for those in Mythic. I know that there are players who struggle too much to do it, so I would really appreciate it if you can like and subscribe to the channel at the end of this video. So, let's begin. The first tip I would highly recommend is to stop complaining about other players. Personally, I think that we waste a lot of energy and time complaining about other players. We got angry for the performance of other players, like if they farm or make the rotations properly. Well, I think that is a complete waste of time. Instead, you should focus on your main performance and carry your team to the glory. Sometimes we are so angry about doing that, but trust me, I won multiple games just by turning down the chat. Because it is useless if you are playing solo, just focus in the team fights and start visualizing the victory, starting from your own performance and rotations in the game. Also, there are some important things that you have to check in order to improve your game. Start by checking the composition of your team and also the enemies. At the very beginning of each game, you can start analyzing if the enemies are meant to win in late game or push in the early stage. Also check the resistance of your teammates and the combos that you can get playing your hero in the team fights. It's so easy. You just have to also pick your tune based on this early analysis. And remember, we cannot complain about our teammates. If we have died multiple times, or even if we are not making the rotations properly, that's why we have to always focus on our main performance in the game. You will only get frustrated if you focus on other players but forget your objectives. Make sure to turn down the chat. For real. Trust me, the main chat will not only be a pain in your ass, but also it will lead your anger to lose the game. Now, let's move forward for the next tip. Dominate the rotations. For this one, I have created a rule that can help you a lot. And this is the 3-minute rule. In the first 3 minutes of the game, you must analyze how THNAs are playing. So basically, the whole game you must keep an eye on the map and also check how your enemies are making the rotations. If they gank your ADC or if they rotate looking for team fights in early game, if that is the case, of course you need to make the rotations as well to help your teammates and prevent them to die so much and feed the enemies. This rotations will depend not only on your current game status, but also in your role in the team. For example, if you are playing as a tank, you must protect your ADC and your jungle every time to secure the turtles and the objectives. Every rotation is important no matter what you do. Always focus in helping your weaker lanes to release the pressure and farm as well. You can farm either with objectives or by attacking the enemy towers. If you are playing as a mage, you have to double the rotations, because mages have a lot of early damage. And if you play as an EXP off lanes, you need to rotate only if your team is closer. Otherwise, just push the tower and get some gold to finish your build items. Same rule if you're playing as an ADC. Nevertheless, keep in mind that the key for a successful rotation is not to find a kill. If you were thinking that the only purpose for rotations was to kill the enemies, let me tell you that you are wrong. The team that wins the game is the one that rotates finding objectives, the one that builds the items fast, the one that focuses on farming and occasionally sees the opportunity to kill. Make sure also to stay calm and always think wisely before throwing all your skills to a single enemy. Sometimes it's better to wait and see how the enemy starts the team fights, then you can counterattack and eventually this will lead your team to victory. Don't forget to check the 3 lanes every single minute. Another important thing that you should check. Always look in the map where the turtle is spamming and help the jungle to kill it for extra advantage. But if you are playing as a jungle and nobody from your team is nearby to help you, don't risk yourself trying to kill the turtle. please don't die foolishly attacking the wrong objectives. If you know you're going to die trying to kill a target, don't do it. It's preferable not to do it and just take advantage by farming or pushing the lanes. Imagine if the enemy not only kills you but also kills the turtle. That is an important amount of gold you are throwing away. These little things may sound so trivial, but believe me, it really makes the difference, especially if you are playing solo and you cannot communicate with other players. Of course, you cannot control everything in the game. If one of your teammates is feeding the enemy is okay. Don't get angry and just keep rotating correctly and push the lanes. As long as you follow these tips, you shouldn't have any problems to carry your team in the late game. Eventually the enemy will back off and you will be able to find more objectives. Now let's dive into the next tip. Understand all roles and all heroes. Honestly, together with the previous tip, this one is very important, and guys, I really cannot believe how there is a lot of people that pretend to rank up without being able to play all the roles. If your next game needs a tank, you should definitely choose a tank or an ADC or whatever needed, and you should also know how to play that role properly. It is very important to know every single role and how it works. You cannot rank up if you're going to play only one role. Mobile Legends is about knowing all heroes and always be prepared to play any role needed in the game. You don't really have to know every single hero necessarily. You just have to know at least how their abilities work and how they do their rotations and skills. This tip, guys, is so underrated. I have played tons of games where there were some trolls that decided to feed the enemy because they were not playing the role that they wanted to play. Or even sometimes some players decide to try some heroes that they don't know how to play. And honestly, people, that is the worst thing that you can ever do in the game. Once in a time I had a conversation with some Mythic Immortal players, and they were telling me that in Epic and Legend ranks, people only know how to use 2 heroes but just one role. A Mythic player will only know how to play 2 roles, but the pro players definitely can handle all the roles, and at least 5 main heroes including one for each role. Start thinking about it, guys. Is not only about having fun. If you really want to rank up, try to get all roles covered. If necessary, please read the patch notes from newer updates and understand the meta. Try to commit if you really want to rank up. You are never going to be able to do it if it is your turn to go as an EXP laner, and you just feed and troll your team just because you don't know how to play that role. Once you change your mind and do your best for each role in the game, everything will be easier. Learn how to build properly. So, before moving forward, please, people, understand that the default build from the top global players is not going to help at all if you just copy all those builds without making adjustments. You can base your first 2 items according to the top global's default build, but beyond that, each item that you purchase should be different. Understand that each match is different. Every single game is not going to be the same. There are so many things that you have to analyze before buying your items and spending your gold in useless builds that will lead you to hell. If you have to purchase Dominance Ice or Athena's Shield, just go for it. Or maybe if you need a Thunder Belt, make sure to leave some space for those items that will really help you in the team fights. Build your items according to the game. On the first 5 minutes of the game, you must have already all your enemies in mind and know every single item of the game that can counter their attacks. And also, you should definitely know about the weaknesses of all the heroes in your current game. Every single detail matters, and the answer is yes. Definitely, if you ignore one single item that can help you to win the match, but you did not buy it, you will lose. So learn about all the items and how they work. There are about 53 items in total that you can choose from for each individual match. So please think wisely before purchasing something, and believe me, if you follow these simple tips, you will notice a big difference in the way that you play, and you will rank up easily like a pro. If you have any advice or questions, leave them in the comments below. I will be happy to answer them. And before you go, I invite you to subscribe to the channel to support this type of videos. Thank you for watching this video. Until next time.